Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassey, your host. Today we're at the Shorebird Stadium, Arthur W. Purdue Stadium in Salisbury, and we have a very special guest, County Executive Bob Culver. Welcome, Bob.
Well, and thank you very much. I appreciate it, Greg.
So how are things going for you? You're on a bit of a roll here as the county executive. You're in the news a lot, and some stuff's getting done.
Well, I feel very good. We've been working on it for a year and a half, so a lot of it has just come together in the last month or so. So it's been exciting to see a lot of them go through. A couple disappointments, but we're still working on those.
So let's talk about the first big one here right now, the Warwick proposal, what's actually been approved
Yes.
to pay tuition for graduating high school seniors in our county to attend Warwick, essentially for free, after they've met all the requirements or fulfill their scholarship and financial aid requirements. Tell me about that. How did that happen?
Well, a year ago I went to Dr. Hoy and asked him if it was possible. And after looking at it first, he thought that no, that wasn't going to work. But I went back to him again this year and just said, somehow we've got to be able to do this. I've talked to Dave Ryan from SWED, and realizing, of course, that one of the greatest assets that a community has to offer is its educated workforce. And with that, we decided to go ahead and see what we could do. We have over 1,500 jobs in the area that we call for the middle skill set. That would be your phlebotomists, your radiologists, people in the hospital, people even in manufacturing that needs to have computer skill sets to be able to run conveyor belts. So with that, we tried to come up with a program that would benefit Wycomico County students, and this is what we came up with. And Dr. Hoy has been, great working with it. He patterned a lot of it after the Garrett County scholarship program. I hope by next year we can be able to get it back to where the income limit is taken off of there that we have now, because there's a lot of families have hard times in the last several years. We all know it's been a big recession. So with that, we'll work on that, but at the same time, we've had over 400 people that are eligible for it now, and they are talking to Dr. Hoy. We won't know much until probably 1st of August how many people have accepted it and gone with it.
Right. And what amazed me is that the income requirement, I think, was sort of a setback, but it's still a victory certainly it's a victory.
It's a great victory.
Great thing.
It's a great victory. It's a start, and this is what we have to do. People have said, well, why don't you have it for those that want to go back to school? This is a start.
It's a start.
This is the first time anything like this has been brought up in our county. And granted, we're not one of the richest counties in the state of Maryland, but we are looking very seriously about trying to change that.
Right.
So.
And what got me is that people didn't seem to understand that it's not a benefits issue. You're not trying to help poor people. You're trying to build economic development in the county as part of your overall economic development plan.
We work on trying to get an educated workforce. That will bring businesses to look for us. We all have experienced things where people didn't feel like we were up to par with where they wanted to come here and that type of thing. So I needed to change it from the ground floor. And it's not going to be a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not going to happen next year. It'll be the next 4 to 5 years before you start really realizing what we're doing. And by that time, I hope to continue to work on businesses. Dave Ryan and myself are working on several businesses to move their facilities here or start up here. So with that, one of the big things was that they were very much impressed with the fact that we are offering tuition. And they can get a workforce development type grant. So we can work with that.
And the money's not that much money. How much money is it the first year?
This first year is $252,000.
Right.
Next year you would think you would double it, but you'll lose some people, and that's not what we want to do. We want to keep everybody going through for the 2-year degree. So I see it balancing out between $400,000 and $500,000 a year.
Right.
And when you say that, 10 years, that's $4 million. But do you realize it costs us $120,000 to pave 1 mile of road nowadays?
Right.
So it's not very far. I mean, that money is going to be well spent, I believe. 90% of the people that go to college will stay in the area which they went to college in. So that'll keep those people here. They become taxpayers. We have a piggyback tax. That will come directly to Wycomico County. including the fact that they'll buy a house, they'll get married, they'll settle down here. So it's a long-range plan.
Now, when I talk to Dr. Hoy about this, I say, now come on, Dr. Hoy, this was your idea and you got Bob to do it. And he's like, no, this was Bob from the beginning. Bob came up with this.
Actually went to him when I was still on council.
I mean, that gives you credit and blame both.
I admire that very much, thank you, but I could never have pulled it off without Dr. Hoy and his knowledge of the educational world.
And the way it's set up, it's not like the county's dispensing this. There's a scholarship fund that Warwick will draw from for these students.
At the Community Foundation, we are giving our money to the Community Foundation, so the county won't be into it on a day-to-day basis. But try to understand, too, one of my long-range goals with this is to see the benefit, let local businesses, local philanthropists see how well this does, and with that, they will donate. And as you may be aware of already, we've already had 2 donations, one from the Avery Hall, and that was for $15,000, and one from First Shore Federal for $15,000. So we've already collected $30,000 of community money. What I hope to be in maybe 10 years from now, that we can back out of this and there'll be enough money to keep it going from the community, either through an endowment fund. Eric has done a wonderful job with the Community Foundation, and we hope to expand on it. So we have to sell our idea to the businesses.
Well, it's interesting. I just happened to be standing there when Dr. Hoy told Kevin Hayes from Avery Hall that First Shore Federal was in for 15, and Kevin was like, well, we might want to get in for 15. So it's the kind of thing that I think once this gets out, you're going to have more people stepping up.
Well, we hope so, and we are a very fortunate community in the fact that we have a lot of giving people, and they want to help Wycomico grow, and we're excited about that.
Now, being part of your economic development thing, and I have to ask, when you were elected, when you were running, economic development was a big thing that you wanted. The economy's doing pretty good, it seems to me, in my business, that things feel good in the county right now. How do you feel about the economic development, and how's the economy doing in Wycomico County?
It's moving up, it's coming along, but is it back to where it was? No, no way. But a lot of times it's mental. It's how you perceive things. I've always said 90% of any problem is how it's perceived and how you look at it when the solution is. So we are doing better. We're letting people know that we're doing better, and we want to show them that we are working hard to make ourselves better. So economically, our income tax money from the state will be coming in soon. We feel it's going to be up higher a little bit than where we were, but all in all, we're doing very well. The budget's been passed. Things have gone well with that. So
revenues were better in the budget this year.
Revenues are better. We've gone 2 years now without a tax increase, and very happy with that. But at the same time, we've funded a lot that we've not had a tax increase for. We have done $900,000 in our health insurance plan. It cost us more this year. $300,000 in our workman's comp plan. We've done that. We've took care of what was going to be a $220,000 fine at the landfill. When I moved into it. And we've worked that out by just working with the state. So I'm very happy that Hogan's administration and Hogan's secretaries have been more than happy to work with us. It's no longer just bang, we're going to fine you or something like that. So it's been great. I mean, it's a great working conditions. I met with 4 of the different secretaries yesterday at the clam bake, and that was wonderful. So.
How was the governor at the clam bake? How's he doing?
He was doing great. He really was. He was excited to be there. I felt sorry for him because he couldn't go 5 feet without somebody stopping to want a picture with him. But he was doing very well, and he loves people, and he loves to be out like that. So he was in his realm.
He was here about a month ago and had a tour. He was here at the stadium, and it seemed like a really good visit. You get the feeling he likes it here.
He does like Eastern Shore. And I can tell you he's very much coming back. He has a place over in Ocean City. He hopes to visit a little bit more. We've got him coming down for a few things later on this year, so we're excited about it.
There's a great vibe. I think with the previous governor, I always felt like he was looking at his watch and when can I go back to Baltimore?
I don't think he had a watch on Eastern Shore time anyhow. So.
Everyone keeps asking me, and I keep. We've not done a story for the paper yet, but Nanticoke Road, that dam broke or whatever happened there. Tell me what's going on with that.
Well, it was partly due to the spillway there and partly the pipes underground. It's a state road. Thank goodness it was Donnie Drewer's problem and not mine. We had a couple little ones, and as you know, we've had Barron Creek since that happened. But I did get a chance to talk to Mr. Drewer yesterday, and They're ahead of schedule, provided we have no more rain. Now, it was told that it's going to be the first week of September, but he feels like he's moving along pretty good, so hopefully we'll be able to get that back open and help the businesses down the road.
Because people ask me like school buses and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a big thing. So we're, right now we've notified the Board of Education, Mr. Hughes, Desmond Hughes, and we've told him the roads that we have problems with that he has been able to work detours around for the time being.
Right, and you live that way, so you're having to detour.
I do. I live in Whitehaven, so I go down the Pemberton Drive side of the detour rather than the Rockawalking Road side. So,
right. Interesting. Now you mentioned school board.
Yes.
There's some changes there. Two new members and a new superintendent.
2 new members, Jean Malone and Maria Walker, the great additions to the board, and we're looking forward to that. Donna Hanlon and I have had several meetings together already, and looking very forward to a working relationship with her. So we're excited. Everybody seems to be looking forward to a new school year, and certainly the executive's office is. So we're excited about that.
Now you're going to have to explain something to me because I don't understand. In the past, they've always gotten up and criticized the budget. They've criticized you. You've had some prickly remarks back toward them as a collective. From time to time, there's been some prickly stuff. This year it was a love fest. It was kumbaya. What happened?
Well, I mean, I think the first year was, setting each other's line in the sand, so to speak.
Right.
And I knew where they were. They knew where I was. I didn't win on all my votes for the Board of Education. We all know that. But this year, I think, I listened to their needs and they listened to my constraints of what I had. And we were able to come together on some terms, and that helped out a great deal. Plus, we were lucky enough to fact that Delaware owes us money now, where we normally pay Delaware for our Delmar situation, where they go to elementary school and high school. And that money we have put aside. We didn't require it to come back into the general fund, but the only requirement I did have on that it would stay in a quote lockbox till we could go ahead and put it towards Delmar Elementary School renovations.
Right.
So we were used to paying a certain amount. That money has come back, and that's good. But we're going to need to renovate. We're going to need to put some additions on Delmar Elementary School. So.
I love when I'm wrong, and I'm wrong a lot, unfortunately. So it makes me happy, I guess,
you should
a lot.
take a chair next to my seat then.
But when you first came in and there was the fight about West Salisbury, I was like, what is he doing this for? Why is he having this fight? We don't need to do this. And it made a lot of people very upset. But in the end, they're going to get their new school, and you've saved the county a lot of money.
That's right.
But you're not bragging about that. You need to find a way to brag about that.
Having come from the private industry, you don't pat yourself on the back because you did a good project. You kind of let it speak for itself. And I've learned that there's a lot of things that we've accomplished that people don't know about. And hopefully, with hiring of a public relations person, we're going to be able to take care of that.
And I'm glad you're doing that because, as I've complained forever, to know what's going on in the county, I have to call you up and say, so what'd you do today?
Well,
but that's the way you wanted it to be. You wanted it to be low key, but there is some good stuff that people need to know about.
We have a lot of good stuff going on, and we really do, and we're very excited about it. But and a lot of people don't understand the ins and outs, the workings behind it, what it took to get to that point. But that's okay. That's what I signed up for. That's what people pay me for, and I'm very happy to do what I do. I love my job. So.
Any ideas for the school board? Anything you'd like to see them do now?
Well, we have several schools that need some serious remodeling, and that's where I've talked to Dr. Hanlon about, and that is in the remodeling of some schools. Beaver Run is their next one on the schedule to be rebuilt. I don't see it being rebuilt, but I do see a strong remodeling coming in. So we've got city sewer going out there and water that will take care of that problem. So we're excited about getting that Beaver Run school done and get it back up to terms with other schools. And
basically that's the same model as West Salisbury and Glen Avenue. They're the same kind of school, I think.
Well, West Salisbury and Glen Avenue were sister.
They
were the same. Beaver Run is a little bit different.
Right.
It came along with what was North Salisbury and those type of
Right,
schools
okay,
before.
yes, you're right.
So the paneled and the Wahai breezeways, that type of thing.
Right.
So, but, we can only go as fast as we can go. And again, we're going to take those steps. We're going to move it forward. I'm a strong believer in education, not so much bricks and sticks, but the educational part of it. And I want to make sure that our children have the greatest assets inside the school that they possibly can. So that's what's going to make our area shine, not necessarily because we have more brass showing on something else, but because of our students.
Well, in interviewing Dr. Hanlon, she knows you and she's excited about working with you.
Let's hope she holds that thought, huh? But it's going to be fun. I think we're looking forward to it.
Now, when you had your first year in office, we did the big interview, how's your first year thing? And in that interview, another place where I'm wrong, you said, we're going to get rid of this alcohol thing at the Civic Center. We're going to take care of that. And I was like, he's going to lose this one. What happened there?
Well, the county attorney, Paul Wilbur, who I asked to research to make sure, read the deed thoroughly and found out that the prohibition, so to speak, was taken off back in 1971. It was taken off by the Woodcock family back in 59 or 60, and they agreed at that point in time to remove that restriction. This wasn't done. I did not remove this restriction, and a lot of people have it confused, and we've heard for years. How many years have we been hearing that there's a restriction on the property?
Well, to me, it was the third rail of local politics. You couldn't ever touch that thing. At Civic Center alcohol, you were going to get electrocuted.
And we looked at the fact that it was originally a ball field, and this became an arena type situation, and was there a way around it? But once we got into it, it was removed already. It was a no-brainer in that sense. You know, we're not. It's not a drunk fest over there, and we're not trying to do that. But every big arena that has anything successful has alcohol available, and that's what we're doing. It's certainly not going to be there for the Sesame Street Live or Disney on Ice, but it will be.
Well, I've been to those, and you need alcohol at those.
I'll tell them that Greg said to go ahead and start the taps up for that one. But anyhow, but the concerts, the amount of entertainment we can get in here with that is going to be a lot bigger. And of course, you've read already that we have had a hockey franchise look at wanting to talk to us. So, So nothing in concrete, but.
So I know things. I'm sure things are going on behind the scenes. You're on the phone. What's being said? Give me some news here.
Scoops, huh? But no, it's being talked about, and there's no doubt about that. But it's being talked about in a slow, cautious way. We need to make sure. Now, our first step is this summer. Steve Miller, who is Director of Parks and Recreation Tourism, is now, we're going to be removing the lower riser seats out of the Civic Center in August. And through the 1st of September, we will get all those back in. Our seating will all be replaced by that time at $1.8 million.
Wow.
We've painted the ceiling out. If you've gone in lately, we've painted the walls out. We no longer have that bright blue and green that we used to have. It's more of a subdued color. It's more of a subtle tones, I suppose. That seems to be the trend.
I always felt like I was in an aquarium when I was there.
Well, you know, it's kind of, I don't know who thought that color up at the time, but you know, I'm sure there was probably drugs involved. But needless to say, these look really nice. Our carpet samples.
It was the 80s.
It was the 80s. Okay. But it was one of those things that we're changing the carpet, the tile floors. We lost some of the tile last year, 2 years ago, I guess it was, when we had that break in the water line. So we've been this long getting it back, as we say. Things don't happen as fast in government as they do in private, but they are happening. So,
but it's a fact that after years of not being able to get anything done with alcohol at the Civic Center, without not being able to turn that into the profit center that everyone wanted it to be, there's a chance now. You've made that happen.
There is a chance, and I'm proud to be a part of that. But you know, it was I've taken some knives in the back, and people have thought I've done this. I was at the clam bake yesterday, and speaking of that, and one guy just chewed me out upside down the other and told me that I wasn't going to get reelected because of the tuition thing. And I said, well, I'm sorry you feel like that, but I feel like in order to, if we were going to have an industrial park, we'd have that road built to that industrial park before the park got set, or we'd have water and sewer out there. This is no different. If I want businesses to come to Wycomico County, which I do, I've got to have the assets that they need. And through the work with the council last year or 2 years ago, on my last year on the council, we dropped the inventory tax. We've got one more year of inventory tax. And you go talk to the car dealers, you talk to Midway Homes, places like that, it helps them. It really does. I mean, you know, that gets expensive when you're paying $30,000 or $40,000 just on your inventory you have.
Well, where we're sitting, I mean, if you look at it from a P&L point of view, this thing's cost the county a lot of money. But if you factor in all the other intangibles, you know, it's a win. It's a question of what kind of county do you want to live in.
Wycomico County makes about $100,000 a year off the Shorebird Stadium. State of Maryland makes a little over $900,000 a year off the admission amusement taxes and that type of thing. And again, to say we have all the people that come here, they buy food. These companies are existing because of this stadium. It's a wonderful asset to Wycomico County. Wycomico County has got some of the greatest tourism assets of any county, even the size of Montgomery County. When you look at a arena like Wycomico Youth and Civic Center, that's tremendous to have that much. To have a minor league baseball team here, if we're lucky enough to get the hockey team in here. I mean, where else can you look? I mean, we don't have the ocean, but we have got a lot going for ourselves. So we have to take what we have and make the most of it.
Right. So economic development was something that you got elected on. Really important. What do you want to do next with economic development? What's your secret plan?
Well, we're going to continue to seek businesses. We're going to continue to seek help the businesses we have here expand. What do they need? What are their assets? Now that they're feeling a little bit better about the market, what can I do as a county executive to help you expand that market? What can I do to help you expand your employment roster? So whatever I can do to do that, I want to reach out. Tourism is a big thing. We're still working on the as we said a long time ago, I want to see the tiny houses come down to Jackson Harbor, down in Bival.
Right.
What a wonderful way of getting somebody from Pennsylvania who wants to fish, rent a slip, rent a home for a week, can use the bay waters and the tributaries here. There's good fishing. There's good cruising. It's just great to have the water assets that we have here. So we've got to take what we've got and capitalize on that. And I plan to keep on doing it. And with the help of Governor Hogan, I've talked to him several times, we're working very closely together. So.
Airport, there's a new airport plan. In County Council this week, Wayne Strasburg, the county administrator, let slip that they're going to go to the FAA and ask to extend the runway because it looks like Piedmont's going to fly some more jets. Well,
it's always been on their plan at some point in time to go to the regional jet, and we want to accommodate that. They need about 600 feet more runway, which is very important when you're trying to get up or land, but of runway space for those jets that they've chosen. And so with that, we have water going out to the airport. We've got a $2.4 million request in to get that straight. That was in a CIP, and that's going to go through.
And that's coming from the Warwick Water Tower.
That's coming from the Warwick Water Tower. We'll go down Walston Switch Road, come around, and feed the area from there. So that will feed the main terminals, but we'll also get around to our airport. We met with Senator Mathias this week about trying to make an aeronautical enterprise zone. So, just to do what we can to try to get businesses out there. So we're, working very hard on that. It's slow, but you've got to get, that first step. First step is having water out there. We can't build a hangar now over 10,000 square feet without having a sprinkler system. And in order to have that, we've got to have water that's constantly pressured. So as you can tell, the tower over here behind my shoulder was the tower that used to keep these sprinkler systems at pressure until water got out here.
Right.
So now that tower is going to be moved and taken to the carriage house where the upcoming county fair is going to be.
Okay.
And that will provide a sprinkler system because we don't have city water at that park. And once that's put in, we'll be able to have a sprinkler system at the carriage house.
That makes sense.
So we're not going to scrap steel it, but we can do something with it.
Yeah, now the airport, and I think about it, that was another area. There was a commission that ran things at the airport for a long time. There was like dotted lines all over the place. And you came in and seemed like to me, you want to control the airport for accountability purposes. And I was like, why is he picking a fight with the airport commission? But now I understand what's going on.
I was never trying to pick a fight with anybody, trust me.
When you go, we don't need a commission anymore or whatever.
Well, I mean, they did a great job of running it, Bob Dickey, and of course it goes back to Ed Kramer, and they've all done a wonderful job with it. But I guess my vision is to expand that and to really make it, there's 3 airports in the state of Maryland.
Yeah.
BWI, Hagerstown, and Salisbury. And we're the only one here on the shore that's got the flights that coming in, the commercial flights. So we need to capitalize on that. Piedmont has been a great partner. And Lyle Hogue, who's the president now with Piedmont and American Airlines, we've entered into a joint advertising. We're going to work on some more things on how we can get people to use this airport and what we're going to do. So we've started billboards, of course, and we're going to do some other plans that I think people will find exciting.
Yeah, we've got some jewels. We've got the Civic Center as a jewel, certainly.
It is.
This stadium, the airport. We're lucky with the hospital and the university, certainly Warwick Community College. And feeding off of that, when I think about the airport, I think about the port in Salisbury. And that seems like kind of a city thing, but there's a role for the county coming up in what's going on with port redevelopment in Salisbury?
Well, there is. We're looking at towards the wind farm development, that type of thing. What we're going to do, we've got some concerns, and we're going to listen to some residents from that area that have some concerns they want to express. And we've got the Coast Guard coming down for a meeting in August with those residents. But yeah, the problem lies in the fact that the port now is in downtown, middle of downtown.
Right.
And
it needs to be a little bit further west.
what do we do about that? We've looked at land further out west to try to make a port. So I've worked very closely with a couple people on that.
Give me your plug for the county fair. Again, one of those things I was like, this is never going to work. Chicken Festival combines with the Farm and Home Show.
It is.
Great success last year, and it's coming up.
When the Delmarva poultry industry decided to drop the frying pan, I wanted to have it for the county, but the council, or the chamber went after it, and I said, that's great,
Yeah.
no problem, they've got it, so we're good with that. Mr. Colburn and the groups got together and decided to kind of combine that together, and that's turned out really well.
Yeah.
But when I came in, I also decided to put $250,000 towards painting and fixing up the carriage house.
Yeah.
If you go out there now, it doesn't even look like the same place.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful building. It really is. It was just needed some paint, some
Yeah.
TLC, and it looks good. We're painting the equestrian center now. Now, the way it was done in the past, we have now decided to lease a long-term lease to the equestrian center. They are their own entity rather than part of the county.
Okay.
So we just signed a 5-year lease with that, and the council took care of that this past week, so we're good with that.
Good.
So
are you going to go to the fair?
I go all the time. Yeah, I love it out there. Being a farm boy, I've always enjoyed the fair. Last couple of years, it's funny. So when I was running for council, and years that I was not running, but I was on there, I have some good friends, the Kings, who raised 300 acres of watermelon. I would always get the watermelons from them that just maybe had a small scar on that we couldn't sell to Walmart. Right. And I would take bins of watermelons out there and put my campaign sticker on the watermelons and pass them out free. So it worked out well for me. But everybody got to taste, a great watermelon, but at the same time got to campaign for myself. So it was wonderful. But yeah, no, it's a great asset. I hope to see it expanding. And like I say, from the year that I took over, the first year was 2,000, 3,000 people, to last year between 8,000 and 10,000 people.
And the weather wasn't great last year.
Not the finest.
Yeah, there's one bad day, I think. Yeah.
We need to do some things, and we learned from last year. And this year, my understanding is they've got some of those problems worked out, and it's going to be better.
Going to have fireworks out there?
Going to be fireworks out there this year. So some people were concerned with the animals, but we got that question taken care of. So we certainly wouldn't want to scare any animals, but
right.
It's going to be the night before, so the animals come in. So we're looking good for that.
So you're a year and a half into this job. Mm-hmm. Year and a half?
About a year and a half, a year and 7 months.
What do you think of it? Is it evolving? Is it what you thought it was going to be, or is it completely different?
There's a lot more time consuming than what I do, but I'm probably do that to myself. I'll average between 12 and 14 hours a day, usually 6 days a week, going to one place or another.
When I go by there, your light's on 7 in the morning.
Usually,
the rest of the building's dark, but there's a light on in your office.
I'm usually there between 6:30 and 7. I usually sometimes will go to either roads and solid waste are our early divisions.
I see your vehicle over the landfill all the time early in the morning. They must have free coffee or something going on over there.
Well, it's a good place to stop, and I get to talk to the staff and everything there. But yes,
they have to have all the gossip over there, because everyone goes to the landfill.
Everybody dumps at the landfill. Yeah, we get the best gossip. I'd have to charge you in order to give you all the good gossip. But anyhow,
being a newspaper, that's all we care about is the gossip.
It's the gossip, but it's I really enjoy it. I do. I enjoy being on part of the team that's making Wycomico change for what we feel is the better and moving it forward. One thing we're looking forward to this year, I'll put a plug into it, is this is our 150th anniversary for Wycomico County this year. So
right.
We plan on having a big occasion for that. So how we're going to tie it in just now, I've talked to Greater Salisbury Committee. Mike Dunn has offered his help for us, and he did such a good job with Red, White, and Boom.
Right.
So now he's going to help work on that. So it's we're excited about that because it's going to mean 150 years for Wycomico County.
Wow.
And that's kind of momentous. I'm glad to be at the helm during that time. I can remember when the 100-year anniversary was, unfortunately. So, but it's going to be one of those things that hopefully everybody will remember it, and my kids, your grandkids, all everybody's kids will be able to say, yeah, I remember when we did that. They did this or that. So.
That's great.
But it's going to be fun. But yeah, so it's been a wonderful experience. Like I say, it's more time consuming, but it's been a lot more rewarding than what I thought. when somebody comes up to you and says thank you, it means an awful lot. Now the guy at the clam bake yesterday, not so much, but you know, we'll take him along with the other one.
But you had some good things at the clam bake.
I did. I had a gentleman come up to me, and I know he disagrees with me a lot.
You're
and
a
that's okay.
teacher.
He was a teacher in Wycombe
Who's
County.
been merciless on you for years.
Well, I take it, but he's not been one of my biggest fan clubs. So
Right.
but he came up to me yesterday and told me that how proud he was to be from Wycombe County in 22 years starting this tuition thing. It was the greatest thing. So I really appreciate him coming. It's like you say, when somebody comes up and says thank you for something, it means a lot. It really does.
People get it.
Well, hopefully they will. You know, so it's the little things that you want them to take home and say, look, we really are trying. So rather than fighting each other, let's try to work it and go forward with it. So we are.
He's Bob Culver. He's our county executive, and we're thrilled to have him here today at Purdue Stadium. Thank you for being here, Bob.
Thank you. I appreciate the time and opportunity to be with you.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper. Another edition of Remote One-on-One right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.